Before the Iron Throne was won, before the Dance of the Dragons, there were the dragons themselves. Massive flying beasts capable of melting castles, changing history, and deciding the fate of kingdoms. But who were these legendary dragons? Who rode them? And what became of each one? Today we'll explore the most famous dragons of House Targaryen, from the mighty Balerion to the loyal Syrax. What makes Targaryen dragons special? Targaryen dragons weren't ordinary creatures. They were believed to have originated in Old Valyria, where dragon lords forged an extraordinary bond with these powerful beasts. Unlike horses, dragons chose their riders just as much as riders chose them. Each dragon had a unique personality. Some were calm and obedient. Others were wild and impossible to tame. Their colors, sizes, and abilities varied greatly, making every dragon truly one of a kind. Balerion the Black Dread. The greatest dragon ever known was Balerion the Black Dread. His enormous wings could cast entire towns into shadow, and his black scales struck fear across Westeros. He carried Aegon the Conqueror during the conquest of the Seven Kingdoms. His fire melted the towers of Harrenhal, creating one of the most famous moments in Westerosi history. Balerion later carried King Maegor and eventually Viserys I before dying peacefully from old age, the last living creature to remember Old Valyria. Vhagar. After Balerion came Vhagar, one of the oldest and largest dragons alive during the Dance of the Dragons. She was first ridden by Queen Visenya Targaryen and later by Prince Aemon Targaryen. Despite her age, Vhagar remained devastating in battle. She defeated multiple dragons before finally falling during the legendary Battle Above the God's Eye. Meraxes. Meraxes was ridden by Queen Rhaenys Targaryen during Aegon's conquest. Although nearly as large as Vhagar, Meraxes met a tragic end when a massive scorpion bolt struck her eye during the conquest of Dorne. It remains one of the few recorded instances of a dragon being killed by a single lucky shot. Caraxes, the Bloodwire. Caraxes looked unlike any other dragon. His long neck, lean body, and terrifying roar earned him the nickname, the Bloodworm. Ridden by Prince Daemon Targaryen, Caraxes became one of the fiercest dragons in history. His final battle against Vhagar remains one of the greatest dragon duels ever fought. Syrax. Syrax was the loyal mount of Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen. Unlike battle-hardened dragons, Syrax spent much of her life inside Dragonstone in King's Landing. Though powerful, she lacked extensive combat experience. Her story ended tragically during the storming of the Dragon Pit. Sunfyre. Many fans consider Sunfyre the most beautiful dragon ever seen. His golden scales shimmered like sunlight, making him one of the most magnificent creatures in Westeros. Despite suffering terrible injuries in battle, Sunfyre repeatedly survived against impossible odds, proving that beauty and strength could exist together. Vermithor and Silverwing King Jaehaerys rode Vermithor, while Queen Alysanne rode Silverwing. Vermithor grew into one of the largest dragons ever recorded and later accepted a new rider during the Dance of the Dragons. Silverwing was gentler than most dragons and survived the Civil War, eventually living freely after the conflict. The Wild Dragons. Not every dragon accepted riders. Cannibal was feared for eating other dragons and hatchlings. Grey Ghost avoided humans whenever possible. Sheepstealer survived by hunting sheep and remained wild for decades before eventually accepting Rhaena Targaryen as his rider. Meleys, known as the Red Queen, Meleys was one of the fastest dragons ever to soar through the skies of Westeros. First ridden by Princess Alyssa Targaryen and later by Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, Meleys was respected for her speed, intelligence, and battle experience. During the Battle of Rook's Rest, she fought bravely against both Sunfyre and the massive Vhagar. Though heavily outnumbered, Meleys refused to retreat, making her final stand one of the most memorable dragon battles in House of the Dragon. Arrax was the young dragon bonded with Prince Lucerys Velaryon. Smaller and far less experienced than the ancient Vhagar, Arrax was loyal to his rider, but no match in size or strength. During a violent storm over Shipbreaker Bay, Arrax instinctively attacked Vhagar with dragonfire. In response, Vhagar killed both Arrax and Lucerys, an event that ignited the devastating civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons. Dreamfyre. This is Dreamfyre, Queen Helaena Targaryen's magnificent dragon. One of the oldest living dragons, Dreamfyre was famous for her beautiful blue scales and graceful flight. Some even believe she laid the mysterious eggs that centuries later hatched Daenerys Targaryen's dragons. During the storming of the dragon pit, Dreamfyre fought fiercely but ultimately perished beneath the collapsing dome. Seasmoke. Meet Seasmoke, the swift silver dragon first bonded with Laenor Velaryon and later ridden by Adam of Hull. Agile, fearless, and deadly in battle, Seasmoke proved his loyalty during the Dance of the Dragons. His final battle came against the mighty Vermithor, where both dragons met a tragic end. Tyraxes. Tyraxes was the young dragon bonded with Prince Joffrey Balerion. Though still growing, Tyraxes showed great promise. Sadly, during the storming of the dragon pit, the young dragon never got the chance to reach his full potential. Stormcloud. Stormcloud was the loyal dragon of Prince Aegon III. Though still young, he performed one heroic act that changed history, carrying his rider to safety while suffering terrible wounds. After saving Aegon, Stormcloud sadly died from those injuries. Moondancer. Moondancer was Baela Targaryen's swift and fearless dragon. Small compared to many others, she relied on unmatched speed and agility. In her greatest battle, Moondancer managed to mortally wound the mighty Sunfyre before losing her own life. Tessarion, the Blue Queen. Known as the Blue Queen, Tessarion was ridden by Prince Daeron Targaryen. Her dazzling cobalt blue scales made her one of the most beautiful dragons ever seen. Brave and powerful throughout the Dance of the Dragons, Tessarion eventually succumbed to injuries suffered in battle. Morghul. Morghul was the young dragon bonded with Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen. Still immature and never tested in battle, Morghul's life ended during the tragic storming of the dragon pit alongside many of House Targaryen's dragons. Shrykos. Shrykos was the hatchling dragon of Prince Jaehaerys Targaryen. Still very young and far from reaching adulthood, Shrykos never had the chance to grow into a mighty dragon. Like many others, the hatchling was killed during the storming of the dragon pit. The Dance of the Dragons was more than a war between Targaryens. It was the fall of the dragons themselves. One by one, these magnificent creatures disappeared, leaving only stories behind. Centuries later, dragons would return with Daenerys Targaryen, but the age of giants like Balerion, Vhagar, and Meraxes was gone forever. Which dragon is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this complete guide, don't forget to subscribe, because our next documentary dives deep into the legendary life of Balerion the Black Dread.